What's up, guys? Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thank you so much for joining me today on yet another Aztek update vlog. I have started to notice that the Aztek videos don't seem to be as popular as they were in the beginning, and I blame that on the lack of progress that has been made over the course of this year. A lot of things just keep going downhill when it comes to trying to get this thing up and running again. It is a Pontiac Aztek, so it is probably a curse. I don't know, but you know, time after time we keep running into some sort of issue, some sort of delay. But honestly, you know, I've said this in the last couple of videos in regards to this Aztek. We are down to like crunch time. We are in the fall. It is now October 2nd as this video is being recorded. Whether it's going to be out, this video is going to be out soon or not, I don't know, but right now it's October 2nd, so we are in the fall. That Aztek is sitting in my driveway, and obviously I have no garage. I have nothing that I can put over top of it. It's going to start getting cold, so we have to get this thing back together like this month. That's my goal. I've had many goals since we started this project, and some of them have maybe gone through, and a lot of them just completely. We got to make this happen, and you know, at this point we're pretty much ready for reassembly. So if you guys watched the last vlog, which didn't go according to plan also, we were cleaning the valves, we cleaned the springs, we got all of that old nasty oil and such off of all of the valves and the springs for the heads. In fact, here they are in the basement. They are still bagged, they are still perfectly clean, well, as clean as I can get them. Next to all 12 push rods, which are going to need clean, but we're not really going to clean those until we are getting ready to put them back into the engine, since they are so order specific and such. We don't want to end up messing any of that up. Down on the floor here, these are the original rockers that came out of both of the original Aztek heads. So these are the original ones. I have yet to clean these off, but we're going to be doing that real soon. So you can see how much progress was actually made. The valves were cleaned, springs are cleaned, we'll clean up the rockers and such, and then we just have to lap those valves back into our heads and put obviously reassemble the springs and such, and that should have been it. But on both of my heads we had some broken exhaust studs. So here's where I'm going with the last vlog. We finally got the opportunity, my friend and I, we finally got the opportunity to try and drill out and retap the places where the exhaust studs go for the exhaust manifold. Exhaust studs are very common to break when you're doing a head gasket job or anything involving the exhaust manifold. You know, the heat and such may maybe make them fragile or just rust, corrosion. But you know, I'm surprised that I got the studs out that I did without breaking them, and I think I had a total of 4 that needed to be done. I think 4 was what the number was. Well, this is kind of where things took a turn. The head that I bought from the junkyard, we were able to get the stud out and re-drill and tap a new hole, or the existing hole. You know, we redid it, and it worked out just fine. We go to the original Aztek head, and we were just kind of running into problems from the start. We were having issues trying to line up the holes on the template or the jig that, you know, my friend had created, which is really strange. So I'm honestly thinking maybe the head did warp a little bit, and that's probably why. I mean, they were just off a smidgen, but you know, when you're trying to work with that jig that we made, I don't know. So maybe the aluminum did expand more than it should have, possibly, but it doesn't matter now. So we were trying to drill out the first stud that was broke inside of the hole, and we ended up drilling a little too far, and we hit the coolant jacket. So that head is pretty much ruined. I did do some research online. You know, I've read things where people have just put some sort of epoxy or some sort of RTV sealant or something on their new exhaust stud that is going into that specific hole where they drilled too far. And there were a couple of success stories where the sealant on the new stud sealed up the coolant from leaking, but I also saw a couple stories where that is just not working, and over time you're going to just keep developing a coolant leak. I might as well not even take the chance. That being said, you know, we have officially declared the remaining Aztek head destroyed, useless, no good, and we bought another head from a junkyard, which is sitting right here on my washer. So I will show you guys now what we have to deal with. So here we go again. I called the junkyard that I got the other head from, and they didn't have any this time, so we resorted to another junkyard who luckily had this one. So this is actually the head from, it's on here, where is it? It's a 2001 Grand Am. Same exact year as my Aztek, actually. So 01 Aztek, 01 Grand Am. Doesn't have the mileage on it. Oh well, probably doesn't really matter. It's actually not as disgusting as I was expecting it to be. It's obviously still got some gritty oil in there. It comes equipped with the rockers. It comes equipped with the springs, valves. So a couple of things I was a little concerned about when I called and asked for the head. They asked me if I had the 8mm bolts or the 10mm bolts. And that kind of threw me off for a second. Apparently these rocker bolts, I guess, come in two different sizes for what reason. So I had to go back to my video, and these were the 10s that I took off of mine. So I had the 10mm, and luckily they had the 10mm available. So that's what these are. But the guy, when I bought the head from the other junkyard, now I'm kind of concerned. I really hope that that's also a 10mm, because he didn't ask me, and I had no idea that these came in two different sizes for what reason. So now I'm stuck with some other rockers, some other springs, some other valves, you know. I don't know. Also, I specified that I wanted a front engine head. This is actually the back head, and I can tell because of this stud. This is the same exact stud that is on, well, it has been on all of my back heads from the Aztek. The good thing is, though, I have this nut. I needed this nut from the for the other one, so we finally have this nut to work with. Okay, so yeah, it's the back, but I did find out. I called my local, you know, Chevy dealer, since they still deal with these engines, and turns out this head is the exact same part both ways. So it doesn't necessarily matter front or back. It's the same exact head. This stud, we can take this out, and it should be just fine. So like I said, as you can see, we just have to start our cleaning process over again. I can't do it today. Well, for one, it's getting too late, but the weather outside has been really crazy tonight. We actually had a tornado watch for a majority of the late afternoon. Just recently canceled, but now it's getting dark out there, so I'll have to hopefully this week, one of these days when I get home from work and the weather's nicer, you know, we'll take this outside. I'll probably just end up using that aluminum cleaner again. And yeah, we'll end up going through all that. I have to remove these. I don't think these are necessary. These weren't on my back head, so we'll have to take these out. We don't need those. If we turn this around, as you'll see, all 6 exhaust studs are still intact. So I might just keep them. I don't know if any of them are stripped yet or not. I'll have to actually get a couple of you know, the appropriate size nuts and see if they'll actually go in and stuff, but they all seem to be in there pretty good, so they're not too bad a shape. I may just end up keeping those. We also have some spark plugs. All 3 spark plugs from this side are still in here, and so are these boots, and both of these boots are kind of concerning because they won't come off, so I'm gonna have to really work with that, and hopefully none of those spark plugs break off or get stuck. Hopefully those aren't cross-threaded like the other head that we had to get rid of, because this head is non-refundable. If we look at the bottom, it's actually pretty clean. I'm really surprised at how good it looks. Even the valves don't seem to be too bad. Now I honestly was still thinking of using my existing valves and springs since I had already cleaned them up, and that shouldn't be a problem if I wanted to use those, because all I'd have to do, and I have to do this anyway, is reseat them, lapping them into the head. So I haven't decided yet. Other than that, they did check the head for cracks, and I believe they also checked it for warpage. So we should be okay with this head as long as these come out just fine. All of this comes out. As long as these studs don't have to come out, we should be okay. And we'll just have to re-clean everything again. That's the part that kind of sucks. I had the other head looking so good, was able to clean up a lot of the grime and stuff, and now I have to kind of start all over again. But oh well, what are you gonna do? It happens. So yeah. So other than that, you know, once I'm able to, I'll clean this up, and then we will finally lap the valves into these heads, and that's really it. The heads will be ready to go. I'm going to assemble the exhaust manifolds. I'm going to try to assemble them, at least the back, for sure. We're going to assemble the exhaust manifolds onto the back head. We're actually going to put the crossover pipe on there too. So then that way when it goes back on, you know, because we're going to have the new shield and stuff all over that, we don't have to worry about trying to get to the back side of the motor to tighten up all of the, you know, the nuts on the manifold and stuff. It'll all be put together and ready to go, and we should just be able to put the gaskets on the engine block and set this down in there. Oh, that is one other thing we have to do now that I think about it. When I said that, one of these side, yeah, that side down there toward the very back, it has that little alignment thing in it, that little peg. That's one other thing that I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get out. Just that thing right there. I should hopefully be able to get it out with some pliers, but usually that stays in the block. All 4 of mine are still in the block, but if that thing is still on there, then there's no way that head is going to seat onto our engine block. So we definitely have to get that out of there. So hopefully some pliers or vice grips will be able to pull that out, and then we just throw it away. We don't need it. Now, other things that we have to do really before we get the engine running, well, I don't really have to, I guess, but we have to try to finish rerouting, well, not rerouting, but trying to complete the power steering lines. The one line concerns me a lot because of how it was sitting so close to the axle on the passenger side. But I have to put the little cooler tube and the remaining piece that goes up to the pump, I have to put it back on. I didn't do that yet, and we have to figure out how to get the stripped out fitting out of the transmission on the bottom. So the transmission lines, we've had those routed in place. They're just not hooked up yet. So we just have to get that rusted out, rounded fitting out of the bottom of the transmission so we can put our new fittings in there and attach the new lines to those. I could probably run the Tech without that for a little bit. There's been no fluid in the transmission. It all ran out anyway. So, I mean, it's been running without transmission fluid when it was running. But I would like to get the power steering done at least because, well, we have to put the pump on, and I'd like to get fluid running through the rack, and hopefully the rack isn't leaking or the rack isn't gone bad. So I guess we won't know until we get it going. So that's where we stand on the Aztek as of this point. But my main thing to do now is to clean this all up, get it all situated. Then we will finish the other head as well, getting everything put back into it. And then that's it. Then we can go back outside and finish working from the block up. That's where we stand. Sorry guys, I really wanted this to be done too. But that being said, if you guys thought that this was informative, if you guys are looking forward to more progress, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out teespring.com/stores/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. You can also check out said merchandise down below this video, where there's a little scroll thing. Scroll back and forth, it'll show you a couple of items you can find at the Teespring store. And that's really all I have for you guys this evening. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care. On a side note, managed to get the boots off. One of them completely just ripped the first time. The other one actually came off okay. Here's the one that ripped. The little coil is actually still stuck to the plug. Alright then.